All right. So this week we are Group 9, and we need to accomplish our meeting by giving an example of a shipping contract. Taylor, do you want to read your example for us first?
Yeah. John is from Idaho and orders a 569-inch TV from a small company in Tennessee for $10,000. The seller of the TV states that John must pay for the shipping expense, and if the TV is damaged, the seller is not liable for the damages. John thinks that this is fair, so pays a shipping company to deliver it to him for $500. What type of shipping contract is this? FAS, CIF, C&F, or FOB?
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. David, do you want to go next?
Yeah, glad to. Okay, so John has a business in Denver, Colorado, manufacturing sunglasses that he sells wholesale to retailers and distributors. John attends a trade show where he meets Amanda, who loves the quality and design of the sunglasses and places an order for 2,000 units to resell in a chain of stores she buys for in South Carolina. John and Amanda negotiate the pricing and financing and sign a contract that specifies that they will be shipped FOB Denver. Amanda returns to South Carolina and starts planning a promotion for the expected delivery of sunglasses. When they do not arrive as scheduled, Amanda contacts John, who determines that the shipment was lost in transit. Upset about this, Amanda demands a new shipment be sent immediately. And then my question is John obligated to do so?
Is your answer, you didn't mark your answer on here, is it the last one?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Cool. My example is pretty similar to yours, David. All right, so my example. Curry Inc. is a manufacturing company in Washington, D.C., which specializes in producing basketballs. One of their clients, Tom Jones, buys a large quantity of basketballs from Curry Inc. every year. Tom is the athletic director at the rec center in his community of Draper, Utah. In addition to being used at the rec center, some of the basketballs are donated to the Salvation Army every year at Christmas time to families in need. In their annual selling contract, Tom has elected FOB, free on board, as his method for shipping, with the shipping clause of FOB Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. A worker at the Salt Lake Airport damages 2 cases of basketballs when unloading the airplane. Which party held the title of the goods at the time of the loss? So, and my answer was C.
Cool.
Great.
So, I like what we came up with today. I feel like we're getting pretty good at writing these examples.
I think we are.
Just a couple things to point out. I found this really good website. Surprise. Actually, I found 2 websites. I found a website that talked about the differences between the UCC and the common law, and Sister Hurley posted that on iLearn. So there's that link, which is really good. And then I found a really good website that talked about the difference between a destination contract and a shipping contract, because those two can be pretty confusing, like who had the right, if it was the buyer or the seller, because they're opposite of each other. So just trying to see. I just want to read kind of like what it said. All right, so there's just a little paragraph that it said, and this was from, I think it was like legalmatch.com. It says, what is a shipping contract? Shipment contract. A shipment contract is part of a sales of goods transaction that is governed by the Uniform Commercial Code, the UCC. When a shipment contract is used between a buyer and a seller, the buyer bears the risk for any loss of damage that occurs during the shipment of the goods. The seller of the goods is only liable up until the moment that the goods are delivered to a common carrier. So I thought that was a pretty good summary of our section in just a paragraph. So the buyer, once those goods are given to the carrier, the buyer bears title, even if they're lost in transit or something. So, and that's kind of basically what we all said in our examples, which is awesome. So, does anyone else have anything to add to that?
I don't. I think, like you said, it's a pretty good summary of everything. And so you said you'd found something that explained the difference between that and a destination contract, right? And it's, I mean, I don't remember specifically because I was kind of focusing on our section, but is the main difference kind of like the opposite? It's that the seller is responsible until the buyer takes possession of it?
Yeah, in a destination contract, which is what another group's going to talk about, they are, so let me get this right. The seller is responsible up until the moment that the goods are delivered to the buyer. So if they're lost in transit or damaged, then the seller is responsible. Versus in a shipping contract, the buyer is responsible once those goods basically leave the hands of the seller.
Got it.
There was also, on this website, there was also something else that I thought was pretty interesting. So did you notice that in my example I talked about that there was a shipping clause?
Yes.
And David, you indirectly addressed it as well. So a shipping clause, basically, like from looking at my example, like you can't really, I tried to make it so it wasn't too obvious what it was, but how you can tell the difference between a shipping and a destination contract is by looking at this shipping clause. So for mine, I said that the clause was the FOB was Washington D.C. National Airport, and so that tells me that because that is the airport that the seller is at, that is a shipping contract. But if it would have been like FOB Salt Lake City, then I would have known that that was a destination contract. That's where the title changes hands. So that's just like a helpful hint, like when you're trying to figure out if it's a destination or a shipping and it doesn't tell you. Look and see where the FOB is, what's stated behind it.
Yeah, it's a great tip. So I guess at this point we need to figure out what example we're going to go with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. This is always the hard part. I feel like I think they're all pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah, they're all pretty similar, so I don't think there's...
I like David's.
Yeah, I like David's too. I think it's a good compromise between my novel and Taylor's awesome summary. So, okay, we're gonna do David's example today.
Okay.
So, Christina, do you have David's example on your
Yes.
computer?
Yes.
Sweet. Now, Taylor, you did the write-up last week, right?
Yes, I did.
You did. Could you remind us, all of us, because I even forgot. So we got to do the question, and then the answer, and then if it's correct or not, right? And then
An
something else.
explanation?
Yeah, you have to add a what is it? An explanation of
Explanation.
your question. Like,
So do we want to come up with that for David's example, because it didn't have a explanation of why A, B, C, and D weren't correct?
Mhm.
All right. So oh yeah, and then this is the other kind of thing that I always mention. Just make sure and change the answers so it's not like super easy for the people to figure out.
Yeah.
Scatter 'em.
Almost switcheroo.
Yeah. Just thought I'd throw that out there again. All right, so why wouldn't A be correct in his example?
because Amanda never had possession of the merchandise, so it is his responsibility.
I guess A is very self-explanatory and everything.
Yeah,
Because
because they have a shipment contract, so once it's in the carrier's hands, then it's no longer the seller's responsibility.
So we need to say like A is not correct because the title, I'll just say the title passed when goods were transferred to the carrier.
Perfect. That's a great way of phrasing it.
I'm trying to make it vague so when people see the feedback, because some of these questions on these other quizzes are hard, and their feedback's kind of vague too, so it's kind of, they need to really know this question like we do. So okay, all right, so answer B said no because it is the freight company's fault for losing the shipment. What do you guys think? Why is that one not correct?
I think you could almost give the same feedback.
Yeah, I was
as the
gonna
first
say,
one.
like, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean, and we don't have to go with these answers. It was just, I was working on it, and I'm like, well, this could be a reason that somebody might think of, so that's why I chose them. So if we need to tweak any of these answers, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Like if we want to make it sound like it could be a destination contract or something like that, then we can throw that into the mix too.
Yeah, that'd probably be good. We might do that for C. We might change that answer to that. What do you guys think? Do you think we should just do the same feedback for A and B?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
But
the same kind of situation, so I'd say so.
Yeah. But Christina, you'll switch them.
Yes.
So then, yeah, okay. So that it won't matter anyways.
I got you.
Good. So we're gonna amend answer C to what David was saying, a destination contract. So we could say, well, would we say yes or no first? What do you guys think?
We'll say yes.
Yes?
Mhm.
Okay. So yes. Well, we could just basically say the same thing as D, but then just change it to the risk of loss is transferred to the seller once the carrier takes possession from the buyer.
I'm sorry, can you restate that?
So we're changing answer C. So answer C is going to say yes, and then it's going to be the same as answer D. It's going to say the risk of loss is transferred to the seller instead of buyer once the carrier takes possession from the buyer. So you're just going to change those words, those two words.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Once carrier takes possession of the buyer.
Yeah, like that. I don't even know if you can even read
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I
Sweet.
see what you mean.
That's good. So, all right. So we have our example. We have our question. We have our explanation. Is there anything else that we need to cover, Christina, on the write-up, or anybody? I don't have it pulled up.
I think we're good for now, unless you guys have any more questions. Like, I'll type this in the next hour and like do some edits, and then yeah, I'll email it.
Oh, we need to do an explanation of our example. So we have our example, and then we need to do like a explanation. I just looked it up. I did have it open. I didn't see that I had it. So so basically, thinking of our example, how does it apply to our concept? Like, what do you guys think? What are some thoughts we could?
I think with the concept of shipment contracts, I think well, to me, it talks about like the rules of responsibility, like is transfer of ownership, and who owns that stuff. Do you want me to rephrase that? That's a bit long. I'm sorry.
No, I think you're onto something really good. So I think that I think it applies because in a shipment contract, we know that the buyer, I always get it mixed up. We know that the buyer owns he has the right, he has the title. So if something happens, then he's responsible, not the seller. And so in our example, it illustrates that even though they had a contract, Amanda, who is the buyer, she was responsible, even though, well, she's responsible for the risk of, she held the title, so she was responsible for the loss.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you just want to make a paragraph or so about the things we've talked about for the explanation, that'd be good too. So.
Therefore, sorry, I'm talking to myself.
No, you're good. Did you have enough information? Do you have enough information that you'll be able to make that into a paragraph?
No, I might need a couple more things of input. I just have one sentence so far.
Okay.
So
Taylor?
So what?
Okay, I'm just gonna, Taylor, so how does our example relate to the concept of shipping contract?
Well, Amanda wanted sunglasses, so she ordered them, and I don't really know how to explain this simply. They just shipped FOB Denver, so meaning that when they went on the truck to go to Amanda, that's when Amanda gained possession of the sunglasses. And whatever happened to those sunglasses was Amanda's problem.
Sweet.
Good. And so basically, in your explanation, Christina, you can say what Taylor just said, and then just talk about like what defines a shipping contract, and I think that will be satisfactory for that.
Okay.
Yeah, in the book on page 189, I think this would probably be a pretty good thing to quote to Christina. It says, a shipment contract passes the risk of loss to the buyer when the seller delivers the goods to a carrier. And because that happened, the risk of loss is now with the buyer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome as well. So it's 189 in our book, but
Oh,
it's
that's
just,
right. She has a different one.
So right here,
Of course that happened to me. Of course.
not to throw that out again, but just right here where it says shipment contracts, just quote that.
Okay.
and then just explain how the buyer had the risk. Awesome. Man, we're making really good time today.
Yeah, by half.
So, okay, are you guys up for like the next little bit, just kind of talking about other questions and stuff about this chapter? Or do you guys have to go pretty quick?
I have to go in like 10 minutes because I have a couple of write-ups that are due tomorrow. So if you guys are up for it, I'm totally cool with that. But
Okay. And then once you've written everything up, you're going to email us and then submit it to
yes.
Eileen?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. Just trying to think. David, Taylor, what do you think? Do you guys want to go over any concepts?
Yeah, that'd be cool. There was, in the study guide, there was one thing that I was kind of looking at earlier. I ran into some problems tonight, so I didn't get to fully look it up, but maybe we could discuss it as a group.
Okay, we can do that. And yeah, Christina, when you have to go, you can just hang up.
Okay. Sorry. It's been a really hectic day for me.
No, you're good. No, you're good. Thanks for being here with us and for doing the write-up. That's
No
really nice.
problem. Anytime.
All right, so David, let's go with your question first.
Okay, there were two questions that I had looking at the study guide. So the first one was, when does Article 2 apply to contracts and when does common law apply? That was my first question.
That was one of my questions that I emailed her, but she did post a video. Taylor was good to point that out, and I think it covered that question.
Does it? Okay, yeah, I've had like my furnace broke tonight. I had a guy over looking at it, and he left just before this meeting started. And you know that a broken furnace in northeastern Wisconsin is not a good thing. So
you should have bought a space heater.
Yeah, I don't want those pipes to freeze.
A space heater.
So yeah, that was my night. So I didn't have the chance to look at as much as I had planned on looking before we met tonight.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think? When does it apply to contracts? And Article 2 apply to contracts, and when does it apply to common law?
So from the video, what I understood, and from the reading, is that Article 2 applies to contracts when you're selling goods that are, I believe in the book it says movable, and I think it says personal. Is that what it says? Personal property or movables. And whereas common law applies to like real estate, and what else? Other things like that. So the video explains it a lot better than I just did, for sure. But
yeah. So it just like applies. I think employment was another thing that the common law applied to.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I think that what the video was getting at was just saying that it applies to contracts. No, it applies to. Let me think of this. The common law is everything except for goods. Movable goods is the Article 2, the UCC, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay. Just two questions that I had that maybe we could talk about real quick. So on the study guide under mutual assent, it says, when does the UCC allow enforcement of a contract without consideration? So that was one that I struggled finding in the book.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I know that there's like I know that she's gonna answer like some of these questions tomorrow because I emailed her, but I just thought it was kind of hard to find a couple of these questions in the book. What do you is that kind of what you thought too?
Is okay. So on page 193, there's section remedies for breach of sales contracts. Is that stuff in there talking about when it would allow an enforcement of a contract without consideration? Something in there? I don't know. Am I looking in the right spot? Because I didn't find that either. And I was wondering if this is where it would be.
Um, yeah,
Or is that different?
it could be, because a lot of those concepts in that section were down here under the understand how the UCC concepts work,
Right. Huh.
but could be.
Could
I know
be.
that on the website that I found, all that it says about consideration is that it says when common law does not allow the revoking of option contracts, the offers made by a firm is irrevocable if the deal is made in writing in the UCC, while contracts in the common law can be modified only with additional consideration. It can be modified without any additional consideration in the UCC. Okay, so do you guys remember what an option contract was? Wasn't that like if David and I enter a contract, David's the seller, I'm the buyer, I pay him like $100 to keep the contract open for a certain amount of time. Wasn't that an option contract?
I think so.
Yeah,
Sounds
so I
familiar.
think, let's see, the offer is irrevocable.
Yeah, I just was looking up the definition. Yeah, that's an option contract.
Okay, so, oh, that's right. So basically it's saying that you can't breach an option contract in the common law, but in the UCC you can. Interesting. So maybe that's what the consideration is talking about, I guess. I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow, which is nice.
Yay.
And my last question was, do you guys know the difference with the writing requirement of the UCC or the common law? Like,
The writing requirement?
yeah.
Nope, no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm glad that we're all on the same page with the same questions.
That's true. I think it's because you just ask the questions that are the most hard to answer.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it will be good because the only questions that I had were those ones that I asked, and then I had a couple about merchants. But I felt like the concepts at the bottom, like the transfer of title, risk of loss, like I felt like that was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Do you guys like just personal question, when you do the reading, do you do the study guide like as you do the reading, or do you go back and do it later?
I do it as I read.
You do it as you read?
'Cause
Yeah, I
know
go
if
back and do it later.
Oh.
Yeah, I read it and then I go back and I do it like the next day because usually that's as much as I can do in one day.
I don't know. I wonder what maybe it pays to look at the study guide and then do the reading. I don't know. I haven't tried doing it any other way yet.
I know if I put it off, I wouldn't do it, and that'd be bad.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think we're good for today. So thanks for participating. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. You're
So
awesome too.
Oh, thank you. That's nice. Thank you. David, I hope your furnace gets fixed.
Yeah, it should be good now. Like, oh, it was just like it's been one thing after another for the last week, so just one more thing I didn't need to deal with tonight.
Yeah.
But
All
thank
right.
you. All
Well, you
right, thanks as
guys
always,
have
guys. I appreciate
have a
it.
great week.
Yep.
Yeah, you too.
See y'all next week.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.